Hello, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Hello, good evening.
Yes, ma'am. We can hear
All
you.
right. Right, okay. How is weather like? Is it raining?
Yes, ma'am.
But can manage, no thundering?
No, ma'am. It's okay.
Then no problem, no? Right.
Yes.
We can see still some are getting, some are joining. But today is our last day, okay, of the module. So uh, I have to introduce you to the uh, assignment because I couldn't give you an assignment. So today the first thing that I'm doing is I will show you the assignment that I'm sending you by tomorrow, right? So you will be given about 20 days. So you can actually do your assignment and submit it. So first thing that I do is discussing the assignment. Then after that, what did I do last time? I actually talked to you about the 5E model of teaching. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So I have a sample lesson to show you today. And we will have a look at some other activities also. And we'll have a look at uh, how to actually develop a 5E model lesson plan. Okay. So we finish our discussion on lesson planning. So that is it. We have actually covered the syllabus. We started with approaches, methods, and then techniques. And we discussed what are the two main approaches, then behaviorism, constructivism, and then we talk about different methods and then teaching techniques. Am I right? Am I right? Or you can't remember? Anybody is there to actually give me the outline of the lessons that I did with you? Because it's good because at the examination, otherwise there will be a gap. No. Can you? Is there anybody who actually has been following and keeping notes on at least the topics covered? එහෙම කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවද? Right. And if I tell you the topics covered, will you be able to tell me whether it's done or not? So how can I actually conduct when you don't respond? Hmm? Is it possible? Hmm? You're not audible. Somebody spoke but not audible. Is it because of the rain or what? I don't know. Okay, madam, but some of the topics I missed because of my work. I could manage it. Okay. All right. I will actually talk to you about the areas covered. And if it is not done, please tell me. Because otherwise you will be in trouble, no? Right. I think I started with introducing the concept of the umbrella term of methodology. I discussed what methodology is all about. And then we discuss approaches, methods, and techniques. Am I right, dear?
Yes, madam.
All right. Then I distinguish between the two main approaches. teacher-centered approach and student-centered approach, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And in discussing teacher-centered and student-centered approach, I discussed the two learning theories, behaviorism and constructivism. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
දැන් ඔයගොල්ලෝ ලියා ගන්න ඒවා. නැත්තම් විභාගෙට මොනවද කරේ කියලාවත් දන්නේ නැති වෙයි. ඔන්න අපි කිව්වා methodology. The term methodology. ඊළඟට approach, method and technique. Under the term methodology. ඊළඟට the two main approaches as student-centered approach and teacher-centered approach. And to talk about what is teacher-centered approach and what is student-centered approach, we discussed the two learning theories, behaviorism and constructivism. Okay. And then we discuss teaching methods. Under teaching methods, we discuss factors that helps us to select the teaching method, appropriate teaching method. Factors contributing for the selection of the appropriate teaching methods, like teachers' philosophical assumption, content to be taught, the size of the class, objectives to be achieved, time allocation, like that. Then we discuss the lecture method. The lecture method. Under lecture method, we discuss qualities of a good lecture. Qualities of a good lecture. Then we discuss the demonstration method. Demonstration method is also teacher-centered approach, right? And we discuss the discussion method, discovery method, scientific method. We discuss the scientific method. And then we discuss jigsaw activities, jigsaw method, and flipped method. Am I right, Ernest?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. Then we discuss, after jigsaw method and flipped method, we discuss teaching techniques. Under teaching techniques, we discuss questioning technique. Am I right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Grouping as a teaching technique. What else?
Storytelling.
Storytelling. Very good.
Brainstorming, role play.
Brainstorming, role play. Very good. That is how I want you to respond. Okay, then I'm okay. Right. With all the teaching techniques, after that, we looked at teaching models. Am I right?
Yes, madam.
Yeah. On the teaching models, we discuss PPP model of teaching and the 5E model of teaching. Now, today it's my fourth lecture. My voice is gone. Okay. Saturdays and Sundays very bad. And so then we discuss the teaching models. I told you that it's like that you know you're sewing, but you're not an expert. Then you get a block done. Keep the block on the cloth and cut it and sew. Something like that. When the teaching models are there, they systematize the application of approaches, methods, and techniques in the class. So you can plan your teaching based on a teaching model. Accordingly, you conduct the teaching. So somehow or the other, you are applying these concepts related to teaching, right? So if you take PPP model, presentation, practice, and production. We discussed that. Am I right?
Yes, madam.
Yeah. So then another model is 5E model of teaching. Did I discuss the 5E model of teaching?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So today I will show you a sample 5E model lesson plan. Okay. I discussed the components of a lesson plan as well. So I will show you a lesson plan written based on the 5E model of teaching. And before that, I think I discussed the Bloom's taxonomy also with you. Am I right? Writing specific objectives.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So that is also covered. Very good. So then before coming to anything of those, I will show you the assignment you're getting and will explain how you're going to do the assignment and then get to the 5E model of lesson plan that I have to show you, right? Because this is the most important because today is our last day. So you need to know how you're going to do your assignment. Actually, it's a very simple assignment, but you will not be able to copy anything. You will have to actually develop a flipped method lesson or a jigsaw method lesson. So for that, this is the assignment. I will show you first. I will send it through the campus by tomorrow. Right? I will send it through the campus by tomorrow. But for the time being, I'm showing you because, give me a second, Puta. Wrong one. Right, okay. Sharing it with you. Right. You can see the document I'm sharing. This is something that you're getting tomorrow. So this assignment has 2 questions. You can select one and do. Okay? Either this or that. The first question. Can one of you read the first question?
Select a suitable lesson to be conducted as a jigsaw activity. State the subject, grade, etc. Prepare activities, activities for the expert groups and activities for the family groups. Write a brief note on how you are going to conduct the lesson. Word limit 300 to 400, exclusive of the activities, and 10 marks.
Right, 10 marks in a way. You get about 30 marks for this, okay? Because this is the only assignment. Right, now can you remember what we discussed under jigsaw? Or do you want me to explain it again? Tell me your requirement. Can you remember the jigsaw method? Please respond, dear.
Grouping the members into different parts like A, B, C, or likewise. Thereafter, assign the lesson to be do as a presentation or dramatic wise.
Is it enough? Now the
No, ma'am,
different types of...
we have to give the subtopics for the topic, and we have to divide it, and again we have to split it into groups.
Yeah, there are 2 types of groups.
Yeah.
That is the most important thing. No?
Yes, ma'am.
Expert or the jigs, expert group and family groups. So the family group is termed as the jigsaw group. Right? එතකොට හැමෝට මේක පුළුවන්ද මේ assignment එක කරන්න පුළුවන්ද? බැරි නම් පොඩි revision එකක් කරන්නද? That's what I'm
Yeah,
asking.
ma'am. Can you do a small
Yeah.
revision again?
Yeah. Right. Can you explain it again, member? But some topics I missed because of right. Okay. So there's another question because I'm giving you two questions. You can select one. You can select one. So ඒකත් බලලා ඉමු. අපි ඒතර දෙකමයි discuss. Question 2, can one of you read? Mhm.
Ma'am, shall I read it again?
Yes, please.
Select a suitable lesson to be conducted using the flip method. State the subject, grade, etc. Select or design materials and activities lot to be given to students as pre-activity or activities out of the class activity. Before the in-class, design activity or activities hot for the subsequent in-class. Write a brief note on how you are going to conduct the lesson.
Right. Okay. So I will give you two questions. You can select either first one or the second one. First one is on jigsaw method. The second one is on flipped method. So I will definitely discuss this with you because I feel like that you need revision, right? So because of that, let me actually open my, first I will start with jigsaw PPT. Give me a second. Session 3. Okay, jigsaw. So jigsaw, all right? Jigsaw method. Right. We are going to discuss what jigsaw method is. What is meant by information gap? Samanin jigsaw method එකෙන් කරන්නේ, you use the jigsaw method to teach maybe writing, maybe reading, maybe history, maybe science, right? You create a gap. What gap? Information gap. That means some students know some information, the rest of the students know some other information. So when they don't know the information that each other hold, they need to communicate with each other in order to carry out tasks. So jigsaw method is a new method. In the new methods, it's not only the subject matter that we teach. Along with the subject matter, we develop their 4 C's: communication skills, cooperation, critical thinking, creativity. So when you create, when you use jigsaw method in the class, they will learn the subject matter. And at the same time, they will develop their ability to work with others, cooperation. They will develop their communication skills because they definitely have to talk to each other in order to complete the task. Right? So information gap is created. That is the basis of this jigsaw method. Okay. Now, when it comes to the jigsaw method, the most important thing that you should remember is, the formation of 2 types of groups in the class. Formation of 2 types of groups in the class. One type of group is family group, home group, or jigsaw group. All the 3 refer to the same type of group. Okay? And then you have to form expert groups as well. So the concepts of grouping help developing their cooperation, communication, right? So the concept of grouping is the basis for jigsaw. two types of groups: family home or jigsaw group and expert groups. Right. How to conduct a jigsaw method lesson. This is what you can do. Suppose that it's a history lesson or English lesson, a reading passage. You can't use jigsaw method with each and every subject, each and every lesson, right? But suitable, you can adapt this jigsaw method, okay? That is one of the criteria of the subject matter to be taught. Accordingly, you select the methods. If it is suitable, you can select. So this is the first step, right? If it is a reading text, history, kings of Sri Lanka, right? Kings of Sri Lanka. There, you have kings of Anuradhapura era. Kings of Anuradhapura era. So there in the kings of Anuradhapura era lesson, you have information about 4 kings. You have information about 4 kings. So what you can do is, you have to chunk your lesson into 4 sensible parts. You can chunk your lesson into 4 sensible parts. King A, one part. King B, another part. King C, another part. King D, another part. So if you chunk your lesson into 4 sensible vendoni, right? If you divide your lesson into 4, you first form family groups. In a family group, you should have how many members?
According to the total students,
Hayyen කියන්න පුතා.
we can divide the student into 4 or the student into 4.
Definitely, yes. You have to have 4 members in the family group. If you divide your lesson into 5 parts, how many members in the family group? ඔගොල්ලෝ උත්තර දෙන්න තමයි සිද්ධාන්ත කර නිකන් ඉන්නවා. එහෙනම් මම මේක කතා කරන්නේ. You can actually listen to the recording and do. හරිනේ? Is it okay?
Now then, can you tell the total amount of the students in the class?
That is not needed there, no? I asked.
We know.
Yeah, I did not ask that type of question. And all should talk, right? I asked if you divide the lesson into 5 parts. How many? It doesn't matter how many in the class. How many members should be there in the jigsaw group? It is decided based on the parts of the lesson. That is what I want to highlight.
Okay.
So how many? If the lesson is divided into 5 members in the family group. If the lesson is divided into 6 parts,
then 6 members.
ඔය ටික කියන්න තමයි දැන් මේ හදන්නේ. නැත්නම් ඔයගලන්ට පැටලෙන නිසා. අන්න ඒක කරා දැන්. right? lesson එක තුනකට කැඩුවා නම් 3 members in the family group. ඊට පස්සේ තමයි හිතන්නේ if your class has 20 students, if you have divided your lesson into 4 parts, so your family group has 4 members, how many family groups can be formed?
5.
5. So if you chunk the lesson into 5 parts, 20 lessons in 20 students in the class, how many family groups and how many members in a family group?
4 members.
4 family group.
නෑ. lesson එක පහකට බෙදුවා නම් කී දෙනෙක් ඉන්න ඕනද group family එකේ? members ලා.
4 members.
පහයි. එතකොට 20ක් ඉන්න පන්තියේ family groups කීයක් එනවද?
4.
4.
4.
Right. It is clear. Then you have chunked your lesson into 4 parts. Your family groups have 4 members, right? So you give each member a part of the lesson. Each member a part of the lesson. So suppose lesson is divided into 4 parts. Part 1, 2, 3, 4. Each family group has 4 members. Group member 1, 2, 3, 4. So member 1s get part 1. Member 2 get part 2. Member 3 gets part 3. ඒ වගේ යනවා. But member 1 in the family group does not know what is there in other parts. Member 2 doesn't know what is there in part 1, part 3 and part 4. Information gap is created. Okay. Next step. Next step. You get the family members to form expert groups. You get the family members to form expert groups. So all the member ones get into one group. That is the expert group. All member twos, those who got part 2, they get into another expert group to be experts about the part 2, right? Because all are part 2 people. So likewise, you get the family members to form groups. They are expert groups. From all the family groups, part 1s get into one group, parts 2 get into one group, like that, right? And then you get them to be thorough and experts in the part that they actually got. How can you get them to be experts in that part? How can you get them to be experts in that part? You have to give them activities to do based on the part that they have got. Okay? You get them to do an activity based on part 1 and it's given to expert group part 1. For expert group 2, they have part 2 of the lesson. So you develop an activity to do referring to part 2 and the expert group 2 will do that and become thorough with the content of part 2 of the lesson. Suppose that history lesson, King A is given to part 1, group 1, expert group. Now it is about King B. So part 2, group 2, they actually become experts of King B, knowledge, right? Information. So once the activities are done in their expert groups, they are thorough with the part of the lesson that they got. Only that part. They don't know what is there in the other parts. Now, after becoming experts of that knowledge in the particular path they got, they disperse and they get back to their home or jigsaw groups. Right. Now, back in the jigsaw groups, member 1 is thorough with part 1 information. Member 2 is thorough with part 2 information, but each other, they don't know what they know and what is there. So you want them to communicate and exchange their ideas, information, and do an activity. So this time, you're giving another activity to all the family groups, if not the jigsaw group. And you set an activity based on the whole lesson, all the 4 parts, right? Then in the family groups, they have to do this activity given based on all the parts, the whole lesson. So to do that, what have they got to do? If they want to do that activity given based on the whole lesson in the family group, what have they got to do? They have to talk to each other. Am I right?
Yes, madam. I need a discussion.
Huh? අයියෝ මට කතා
We have
කරන්නත්
to
බැහැ.
discuss.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Then, you know, they talk to each other and get information from each other, and they do the activity based on the whole lesson. So this is jigsaw method. So as a teacher, if you are using the jigsaw method, you need to prepare activities for the expert groups, activities for the jigsaw group. Jigsaw group. So I will actually get you to look at this. This is, now by looking at this, can you tell me, you have divided the lesson into how many parts?
4 parts.
4 parts. Very good. So how many students are there in the class? 4 into 6, 24 students. Right. If they form expert groups, how many expert groups will be formed?
4.
Very good. 4යි. මොකද parts 4නේ ඇදුවේ. හරි. How many will be there in an expert group? How many members?
6.
Very good.
6.
Yeah, from each group, member 1 into 1 like that. Okay, if you're clear. This is the expert groups. And then, advantages ඔගලන්ට කියව ගන්න පුළුවන් නේ. ඒක no problem. Now, the thing is, your task for the assignment is, you have to select a suitable lesson. Suitable lesson. English නම් reading passage එකක්. ඒකත් බලන්න ඕනේ sensible විදියට පාඩ් කරන්න පුළුවන්ද? chunky පුළුවන්ද? එහෙම නැත්තම් වැඩක් නැහැ. Right? හැම lesson එකකටම jigsaw you can't apply. If it is suitable, right? We have criteria to select. So if it is suitable, you can. So you have to select a suitable text. Sensible parts වලට කඩන්න පුළුවන්. Transportation. නැත්තම් pollution. The pollution ගැන air pollution, land pollution, sound pollution, water pollution. So you can put it into 4 parts very easily. You can take that. Okay? It's a kind of about Olympics. Olympics, general information about Olympic flag, Olympic motto and all that. Then Olympics in the past, Olympics now. It's about three parts, sensible parts. You can divide the lesson into three sensible parts. General information, Olympics in the past and Olympics today. In the family group, there are three members. Like that. Now your task is you have to actually select a suitable jigsaw method text material, and accordingly you have to develop activities for the home groups or family groups or jigsaw groups, activities for the expert groups. Now, when you develop activities for the jigsaw or the family group, can you give all the same activity for all the expert groups? Now we are going to give activities for the expert groups. Can you give the same activity to all the experts groups?
Amen.
ඇහුන්නේ නෑ පුතා.
We can't.
You can't. Because they have access to part of a lesson. So the activity you give is based on that part of the lesson. Okay? So you have to develop separate activities for the expert groups based on the part of the lesson they get. Right. Now coming back to the jigsaw group, you have to give them an activity. That activity should be based on the whole text. Whole text. එතකොට, can you give the same activity to all the jigsaw groups?
Yes, madam, we can do.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
can.
Yes,
Yes, you can. Very good. So I will show you a sample assignment. Okay. I will show you a sample assignment. Give me a second. I need to locate it, so give me a second. Right. I don't need this. I have actually saved it somewhere. Right. Okay. Yeah. That's educational technology. New folder. Oh, no. No problem. චුට්ටක් ඉඳලාමයි. That is very bad, Appa. This PC. Give me a second. No, that is not possible to locate. Mm, mm. That is it, Putta. I don't have a sample here. So we will actually, you will be able to do it then? Will you be able to do it? Please respond. Will you be able to select a lesson and then put it into parts and then activities for the expert groups, then for the part 1 an activity, part 2 a separate activity, part 3 a separate activity, and then you activity for the family group, then based on the whole content that you give them an activity, and then you have to write the note on steps how you are going to conduct it. Can you be doing that? Can you be doing that? අනේ ළමයි කතා කරන්නකො ළමයි.
Do your best try, madam.
එපා වෙනවම කරනකොට නම් ඇත්තටම. Okay, now I'm going to teach you about the flipped method because you can select the between two. Okay, flipped method is also a very modern method. Okay, they are not traditional. They are actually highly student centered. Student participation is very high and it helps them to develop the 21st century skills, not like traditional lecture method. Okay. ඕගොල්ලෝ වගේ ළමයි එක්ක නම් කවදාවත් මේ වගේ මෙතඩ්ස් කරන්න හම්බ වෙන්නේ නැහැ පන්ති කාමරේ. නමුත් ළමයි හරි ඇක්ටිව් ඉස්කෝලේ. ඒගොල්ලෝ කැමති දේවල් කරන්න. එතකොට flipped method වගේව not each and every lesson is a flipped method. It's not possible at all because they are time consuming. All right, they should be monitored and each and every lesson cannot be taught like that. So definitely it's not everyday method, but you can actually use them sparingly in the class without actually being ignorant about these new methods, right? මේ වගේ methods පාවිච්චි කරන්න ඕනේ පුළුවන් වෙලාවට. ඒතර මොකද්ද මේ flipped method කියලා කියන්නේ? Very useful method. Flipped method එකේදී වෙන්නේ teaching කරනවා traditional classroom එක අනිත් පැත්ත හරවලා. You flip the traditional classroom. You send it topsy-turvy. හරිද? traditional පන්ති කාමරය වෙනස් කරනවා. මොකක්ද අනිත් පැත්තට හරවනවා. So tell me, what is the traditional classroom like? It's like that. When the students come to the class, teacher does the lesson. Teacher reads the lesson, teacher explains the lesson, students just passively listen. And then you give homework after doing the lesson in the class, that is a bit hot, higher order thinking activities. They are difficult level. You get them to apply what they learn and do something more. That part they have to do at home after the lesson on their own. So in the flipped method, this traditional classroom is flipped. Now in flipping the traditional classroom, you have to think of these aspects. What are they? In-class activities and out-of-class activities. මොකද දෙක කියන්න බලන්න.
In class activity, out of class activity.
Out-of-class activities. Okay. එක එකක්. අනිත් එක තමයි lot and hot activities. Lot කියලා කියන්නේ LOT. Lower order thinking ability, lower order thinking activities. Just read and understand what is there in the book. Read and understand what is there in the book. And giving answers from the book itself, cut and paste directly from the book. They are lot, lower order. අපි Bloom's කරලා තියෙනවනේ. Remembering, understanding and applying. Lower order thinking activities and higher order thinking activities. That is analyzing, synthesizing, creating. So you have to talk about in-class activities, out-of-class activities. Lot activities, hot activities. Right. So let's see how it happens. Right? Look at the traditional class. Look at the traditional class. Okay? In the traditional class, the teacher, first traditional class starts with in-class activities. Teacher explains the lesson to the students. Students just passively listen. All lower order, remembering, understanding, and applying. Okay? So in the traditional class, in-class activities for lower order thinking is done first. And then the teacher gives them out-of-class activities, homework. That is after the in-class lower order activities, teacher gives hot activities to do on their own alone. But in the flipped method, you start your lesson with out-of-class activities. You start your lesson with out-of-class activities. Out-of-class activities for lower order thinking. Lot. The lesson begins with out-of-class for lower order thinking activities. That is, teacher sends them reading material, videos to watch, audios to listen to, and teacher gives them some questions, activities. They are all lower order. Just cut and paste. Read and find answers. Watch and complete the activity. Watch the video and complete the activity. And they do the activity out of class before coming to class. They can do it on their own because they are lower order thinking. Just cut and paste directly from the material. So they do it on their own before coming to class. So flipped method begins with out of class. The teacher uses ICT there. YouTube videos, internet, WhatsApp, they are used, right? And then they do these activities and they come to know the subject matter. It's possible, no? Because read and understand. That is it. So without the help of the teacher, with the activities and the materials sent to them by the teacher, the learner comes to know the content or the subject matter. Then they come to class in class activities. So in the flipped method, in class activities given after the out of class activities. So out of class activities for lower order, in class for higher order, because now they know the subject matter. Now you get them to be in groups, get them to debate, get them to discuss, get them to present, get them to do dramas and all that. Creativity, analysis, synthesis, debating, higher order thinking. They are done in the class after the out of class on their own. So this is more profitable. Otherwise, in the traditional class, teacher just get them to read, explains what is in the textbook, cut and paste, lower order thinking is done in the class, and higher order thinking ones set for homework to do on their own, alone. Useless, they don't do. So this is really, really modern and useful, right? So you have to select a lesson to teach your students using the flipped method. It has to be a suitable one. So the teacher has to send the learner material and the lower order thinking activity. Activity 1 or 2 or 3, simple ones. They don't have to think and apply and do. Just cut and paste directly from the material. They listen, they read, they watch, and they do the activity. බලලා ලියන්න තියෙන්නේ. එතකොට after doing the activity, they come to know about the content, right? Then they come to class for higher order activities. So they are group activities and they are higher order thinking ones. So debate, presentation, drama, discussion. You can give your students those kind of activities. I will show you a sample here. I have a sample with me, but I don't say that it's the best one. But we can have a look at it, so don't worry. Right. Okay. So I'm showing you now. All right. Sample. So I don't see that this is the best one. This is some actually an assignment done by the students. It may have loopholes, so don't take it as the best ever, but it will give you some idea about what to do. Now ඔන්න බලන්න. ඒක මොකක්ද lesson එක කියලා. මේ තියෙන lesson එක. එයා උගන්වන්න යන්නේ, can you see? Yeah. So she's going to teach picture description. This is the copy of the lesson, picture description. Where is the girl? What is she doing? What is she wearing? Has she got long curly hair? Is she happy or sad? So this is what she's going to teach. Anyway, now the lot activities in a flipped classroom. Students' home, hot activities are not attached now. So this is very bad. Activities are not attached now. So this is not a good one to show. I will show you some other one then. What can I? Right. There are so many. I don't know whether they're good or bad, but I'm going to show you. Let's see whether this will work because I have given a bead for her for the flipped method once. So you can see what I'm sharing. Okay. Now here it's a mathematics lesson. It's a mathematics lesson, grade 9. So she actually starts with out of class. So you have to use IT and send the materials and the activities. They are directly cut and paste. The students don't have to think of anything else. So here you actually send them a link. Yeah. And say, click on the link and watch the video and answer the questions. Right? So it's about actually this lesson. So you give them a video and watch the video, and then while watching the video, there's nothing that they have to think and do. They are lower order ones. What is there in the video, they watch and they do it. So the video talks about the definition of the concept, mathematical concept, and then the examples in it. So they do it and come. So they come to know what it is. And then hot activities, they come to class and then do it with the friends. They are advanced. I will give you a very good example here. Now you have lots of free materials available, no? So you're a science teacher, grade 5. Right? The lesson is life cycle of the butterfly. Life cycle of the butterfly. So පන්තියට ආවම අර පොතේ තියෙන එකම ටීචර් කියලා දෙන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. ඒක ළමයිට තනියම කරගත හැකි. ළමයි empty vessels නෙමෙයි. Right? They have their abilities. එතකොට කරන වැඩේ තමයි teacher material එක තමයි video එක life cycle of the butterfly. එතකොට ඒ material එකට link එකක් එක්ක නිකම්ම බලාගෙන ඉන්න කිව්වොත් ළමයි බලන්නේ නැහැ. They don't watch. They don't learn. You have to give them a focus. එහෙමනම් ඒක බේස් කරලා activity එකක් දෙනවා. මොකක්ද activity එක? ඒ life cycle of the butterfly කියන එකේ so life cycle එකට තියෙනවානේ terms pupa ඔම කීකේ තියෙනව නේද? ඒකේ definition තියෙනවා. එතකොට they have to watch the video, match the words with the definition. One activity. So they just watch the video. A video එක තියෙනවා. Cut and paste, directly done. You don't have to think and do. So word is there, definition is there. You can match it by watching the video. So second activity, you have an illustration of the life cycle of the butterfly. Illustration එක කියනවා name the illustration. Complete the illustrations with the names කියලා. දැන් අර ඒගොල්ලෝ words ඉගෙන ගත්තා, definitions ඉගෙන ගත්තා. දැන් අර illustration එක name කරනවා. Life cycle the butterfly. හිත කරන්න කීසි දෙයක් තිබුණේ. If they know their language, they can watch the video and directly by looking at it, direct answers are there. They do the activity and come to know on their own the life cycle of the butterfly. එතකොට activity දෙකක් හැදුවා video එක ඇරියා. They are the out of class lot activities in the flipped method. Then they come to class. Now you can give them hot activities based on that. So hot කිව්වම creativity, group work, going creativity, critical thinking, ඒවා ඔක්කොම තියෙනවා. So you can ask them one group. You put them into groups. එක group එකට කියනවා do a presentation on life cycle of the butterfly. තව group එකට කියනවා draw a poster on the life cycle of the butterfly. තව group එකකට කියනවා act out the life cycle of the butterfly. බලන්න ඒගොල්ලෝ ඉගෙන ගත්ත දේ තමන්ම කියවලා තමන්ම බලලා ඉගෙන ගත්ත දේ පන්තියට ඇවිල්ලා අර 24 අපි කියනවා 21st century 4 skills දියුණු කරගෙන දැනුමට එහා ගිය දෙයක් වැඩි දියුණු කරගන්න skills attitudes and knowledge වැඩි දියුණු කරගන්න cooperative learning creativity critical thinking වැඩි කරගන්න ඒගොල්ලෝ එක පාවිච්චි කරනවා as a group in the in class activities after the out class. එතකොට ඒකෙදී ඔයා මොකද ඒ assignment එකට දාන්න ඕනේ? Lot activities out of class. ඒතර material එක activities දෙක attach කරා. Hot activities in class. So group වලට වෙන වෙනම ඒවා දෙනවා නම් group 1 act out the life cycle of the butterfly. Group 2 create a poster on life cycle of butterfly. Group 3 do a presentation on life cycle of butterfly. එහෙම කියලා අපි දානවා hot activities. Very simple. You got that?
Yes, madam.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, madam.
Yeah. So out of the two, flipped or jigsaw, you can actually do it because it's very practical. You don't have to cut and paste answers because when you do that, select a lesson from your school, your textbooks, and you can, once the flipped activities or jigsaw activities are prepared, you can carry out with your own students as well and see how they will like it. So in the flipped method, the use of ICT is important, right? To send them materials, to do out of class lot. ඒකට අපි කියන අර free resources ගොඩාක් පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන් ගොඩාක් ඒවා තියෙන English language වලට a lot of things are available, right? So ඒගොල්ලන් අර බලලා ඒ බලන material, read කරන material එක video එකට එහයි දෙයක් දෙන්න බෑ. හිත කරන්න දෙන්න බෑ. Lot activities වලට cut and paste directly from the material. ඒක ඕන කෙනෙක්ට කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක කරාට පස්සේ ඒගොල්ලෝ material එකේ තියෙන එක ගැන දැනගන්නවා. ඊට පස්සේ ඒක පාවිච්චි කරලා පන්ති එකිනෙකා එක්ක එකතු වෙලා වැඩ කරනවා higher order thinking වල. ඒවා අලුත් methods හැමදාම කරේ නැතත් සමහර දවස් වලටවත් මේවා ළමයින්ට දුන්නේ නැත්තම් ළමයි අර 21st century learner කෙනෙක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. Are you now be better prepared for the assignment? I will be sending it tomorrow. Are you okay?
Okay, madam.
Yes, okay, madam.
Yeah, we don't have to explain the lesson. Instead, you get them to do some activities. They are higher order. They do it in groups. එතකොට ඒගොල්ලෝ කරන දේවල් ඔයා ගයිඩ් කරන්න ඕනේ, මොනිටර් කරන්න ඕනේ. ඊට පස්සේ ඒගොල්ලෝ ඒවා ප්‍රසන්ට් කරනකොට වැරදි නම් ඒවා ෆීඩ්බැක් දෙන්න ඕනේ. එහෙමයි ඒක යන්නේ. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. එතකොට ඉතින් ඒ වගේ දේවල් කරන්නේ නැත්නම් ඇත්තටම ටීචර් කෙනෙක්ගේ වැඩකුත් නෑ නේද? A little bit of preparation, it's extra efforts is needed. And ළමයිටත් ඒක culture shock එකක්. එකපාරටම ඒගොල්ලෝ හරියට කරන්නේ නැහැ. You need to guide them a lot. Some will not do it at all. අපි කියන එකට culture shock කියලා. හැබැයි ඒව introduce කරනවා little by little. Otherwise, they will never do that. No, then they will never develop their 21st century skills. එනිසා මුලින් හරි අමාරුයි ඒක ටීචර්ට. Lot of guidance, lot of encouragement is needed. But still you need to do, right? That's the idea. So now I actually gave you insights for the assignment. I'll be sending you the written assignment, black and white, next tomorrow itself. Not tomorrow, by Monday. Now I want to show you, we discussed the 5E model of teaching and the components of lesson plan. So I want to show you a 5E model lesson plan, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, 5E model lesson plan. So I'm opening sample plan for grammar කියලා තියෙනවා බලමු. Right. Right. Now here summoning components of a lesson plan මම ඔයගලන්ට පෙන්වුවා එදා. So here date, grade, subject, lesson. So whatever the subject you teach, it is not only English, even science, even maths. You have competencies and competency levels in the local syllabus, right? So if it is grammar, competency 6. Competency level uses the conditional clauses appropriately. එතකොට ඕගොල්ලන් දන්නවා අපේ competency based syllabus එකක් තියෙනවා. Because of that, we have competencies and competency level scale. Are you aware of it?
Yes, madam.
Yes, madam.
Yeah. එතකොට උගල දන්නවා. ඒතර මොකද්ද competency එක මොකද්ද competency level එක? Maths වලට වෙනම තියෙනවා. Science, they have their own competencies and competency levels. Even religious knowledge, any subject that you teach. But if it is English grammar, it is competency 6. Level is competency 6.10. The competency 6.10 can uses the conditional clauses appropriately. Uses the conditional clauses appropriately. එතකොට අපි දන්නවා 5E method එකේ නම් හැමතිස්සෙම tasks දෙන්නේ. Activities දෙන්නේ. එතකොට activities tasks දෙනකොට grammar ඉගෙනුවට they have to listen, they have to speak, they have to read, they have to write. ඒ tasks නේ දෙන්නේ. Activities නේ දෙන්නේ. එතකොට ඊගොල්ලන්ට කප් කරන්න වෙනවා ඒවා. They have to listen, they have to read, they have to speak, they have to write. Okay. Now the duration, time 40 minutes. මොනවද learning teaching materials ඕන කරන? ඒවා ඔක්කොම මේ විදිහට දාන්න ඕනේ. Activity sheet, my friends. That is for the first stage. First stage එකේ ඒවා annex 1. First stage එක මොන stage එකද 5E method එකේ? What is the first stage of 5E method?
Engagement.
Engagement. එතකොට අපි engagement එකදී කරන්නේ මොකද්ද? Whole class activity to recall prior knowledge that they have, which is helpful in exploring the new knowledge. ඒක තමයි purpose of engagement activity. අපි last week කතා කරන්නේ නැති. එහෙනම් අපි purpose එක මොකද්ද? අපි ඒගොල්ලන්ට දන්නවා empty vessels නෙමෙයි. They have prior knowledge. එතකොට ඒගොල්ලෝ ගාව තියෙන prior knowledge, existing knowledge, which is helpful in discovering new knowledge presented to them. ඒව recall කරනවා. ඒක තමයි engagement activity එක. එතකොට මේ lesson එක තියෙන්නේ conditional clauses. Right? එහෙමනම් අපි බලනවා මොනවද ඒගොල්ලෝ recall කරන්නේ. එතකොට අපි හිතමු second stage එක තමයි exploration. එතකොට second stage එකේ දෙන activities අපි annex 2 materials කීපයක් තියෙනවා නම් 2A, 2B, 2C කියලා මේ වගේ දාන්න ඕනේ. Right? Okay. ඊළඟට we have to write the specific objectives into the 3 domains. They are smart objectives. අපි කතා කරා smart objectives. At the end of the lesson, students will be able to බලන්න ඔක්කොම තියෙන action verbs. Form the verbs in if clause type 1 sentences. Use if clause type 1 sentences in giving strong advice. Accept the importance of maintaining healthy relationships. Enjoy working with others. Act out a role play on health advice. එතකොට දෙකක් cognitive, දෙකක් affective. Act out a role play is psychomotor. They are specific objectives of the lesson. Then teaching learning process. Stage 1, අපි කියන්නේ මොකක්ද මේ stage එක කියලා. හැබැයි this is the engagement activity. Engagement. So stage 1 එකේදී අපි කිව්වා engagement activity. You are not going to spend a lot of time because you recall their prior knowledge which is helpful in exploring the new knowledge. එකයි කරන්නේ. එතකොට අපි උගන්වන්නේ conditional type 1. We teach them conditional type 1. And අපි බලමු මේමයි ලියන්නේ. The teacher displays activity sheet my friends on blackboard. මේ activity එක දීලා තිනවා annex 1 එකේ. Gets the volunteers to match A and B. Get students to read the sentences they match in the class. අපි බලමු ගිහිල්ලා annex 1 එකට මොකක්ද activity එක කියලා. annex 1. මෙන්න activity එක. annex 1. මේක board එකේ whole class activity. සාමාන්‍ය engagement activity is a whole class activity. So the teacher has written column A and column B. A එකේ තියෙනවා Sam writes novels, Meena speaks Tamil. ඔක්කොම simple present වලින්. B column එකේ තියෙනවා will plus, may plus, shall plus, can plus. Base form. This is the structure of the conditional type 1. Conditional clause is in simple present. Result clause in will plus, shall plus, may plus base form, must plus base form. ඒතර ඒගොල්ලෝ දන්නේ නැහැ ඒක. හැබැයි ඒක දැනගන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. meaning එක අනුව ඒගොල්ලන්ට A and B match කරන්න පුළුවන්. Can they? Can they match it? Sam writes novels. මොකද්ද ගැලපෙන්නේ? He can win the award for the best young writer one day. Okay. Meena speaks Tamil. Match කරන්න පුළුවන් එකක් තියෙනවද බලන්න.
She will stand a better chance to win from India.
India. ඒකට ඒගොල්ලෝ අර type 1 දැනගෙන ඉන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. මේක match කරනවා. ඊට පස්සේ ඒගොල්ලෝ කියවනවා match කරලා whole class. So they use their prior knowledge. Okay. They can read and get the meaning and accordingly match. Okay. Then අපි second activity එක the exploration activity. ඊට පස්සේ බලන්න අපි මේ activity එක කරලා engagement activity එක හරිද? Teacher leads a discussion on the verb formation of simple present tense and the present modal. Teacher recall කරනවා all the sentences in column A. What is the tense? ඒගොල්ලෝ දන්නවා මේක already. They look at they are S form and base form. So what is the tense of all the sentences in column A? Simple present tense. Look at column B. What is the structure? That is the present modal structure. Can, will, shall, must, may base form. You recall what they already know. They know how to write simple present. They know how to write present modal sentences. එක recall කරනවා matching එක කරලා. Because it is helpful for them to learn how to write conditional type 1. Okay. Then you go to the second stage. Second stage is the exploration activity. That means today's lesson, you give it to the students. They discover the new knowledge. They explore the new knowledge. එක facilitate කරන්න ඕනේ. කොහොමද? Cooperative learning. අපි ඒගොල්ලව group වලට දාන්න ඕනේ. Right? ඊට පස්සේ අපි ඒගොල්ලන්ට දෙනවා activities කරන්න grammar rule එක ඒගොල්ලම හොයාගන්න. Right? It is discovery learning. They have to explore with the friends and then learn it on their own. Teacher is a guide, teacher is a facilitator. This is constructivism, so the 5E model. මොකද වෙන්නේ second stage එකේ? Teacher gets students to form groups. Teacher gets students to do activity family bonds. If family bonds කියන activity එකේ තියෙන මොනවද? Listen and fill in the blanks. Annex 2A and 2B. Get students to present their answers to the class. Get students to do activity family bonds, simple present versus present modals, Annex 2C. Get students to present their answers. අපි දැන් ගිහලා බලමු Annex 2 එකට. මොනවද activities කියලා? It's all activity based, right? Annex 2. Listening script එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒගොල්ලන්ට අහන්න දෙන listening script එක. If we have at least one meal together, we will have time to see each other every day. If you help your mom in household chores, she will be very happy. If you help your sis in a homework, she may improve her knowledge. ඒ වගේ මේ family bonds ගැන කියලා තියෙන class type 1. ඊට බලන්න activities මේක තමයි material එක. This is the listening text that you are going to read. What are the activities 2B and 2C? They have to listen and complete the blanks, fill in the blanks. If we, if you, ඊළඟට if එකේ නෙමෙයි තියෙන result එකේ. She may or whatever. Here again, result clause is first. එතකොට it's modal present. Here it's if, simple present. එතකොට ඒගොල්ලෝ මේක කරනවා. ඒක just listen and fill in the blanks. දැන් කොහොමද grammar rule එකට අවතීර්ණ කරගන්නේ? මෙහෙම කියනවා. Fill in the following with the verbs in the sentences in activity 2B. දැන් මේක complete කරාට පස්සේ තියෙන verbs ඔක්කොම simple present tense verbs මේ පැත්තේ ලියන්න. Present modal verbs මේ පැත්තේ ලියන්න because now the sentences are complete. ඒක ළමයි එකතු වෙලා group එකක් විදිහට කරනවා. You are monitoring them. If they are wrong, you can actually help them to do it correctly. ඊට පස්සේ ඔයා discussion එකක් lead කරනවා. දැන් ඒගොල්ලෝ දකිනවා මේ if clause වල තියෙන්නේ simple present tense, present modal tense එකයි, structure එකයි. ඒක දැක්කහම note කරගත්තට පස්සේ you actually lead a discussion here like this. මොකද්ද? මෙන්න discussion එක. The teacher leads a discussion on appropriate verb formation and structure of if clause type 1 and further discusses the meaning and use. If clause simple present tense එකෙන් ලියනවා. Result clause එක present modal වලින් ලියනවා. ඒකත් ඔයා කියලා දෙනවා අහනවා now. So you can see the if clauses that you listen to. Some are in simple present. The other sentence, the next sentence is in present modal. So which is written in simple present tense, which is written in present modal. ඒගොල්ලෝ කියන if clause එකක තියෙනවා if clause එකයි result clause එකයි. යාර මොකද? If clause is written in which sentence? Present result clause is written in which? ඔයාලා යාගෙම ගන්නවා. ඊළඟට කියලා දෙනවා we can use if clause time to give strong advice and possibilities. ඊට පස්සේ ළමයිටම කියන ඔයගලගේ answers ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න explanation. Okay? ඊළඟට යනවා stage 3 elaboration. ඉගෙනගත් එක යොදාගෙන වැඩි යමක් කරනවා. Get students to do activity friends. Fill in the blanks. Get students to present their answers. Then අපි ගිහලා බලමු activity 3 given in annex 3. Fill in the blanks with the correct form of the verb given. If na, simple present tense. ඒගොල්ලෝ දන්නවා දැන්. Result na, modal present. ඒතර ඒගොල්ලෝ වැඩ කරන්නේ group එකක් විදියට. Teacher monitor කරනවා. So they will apply that they learn. No? If is written in simple present, result clause is written in present modal. Now they try to actually do it with the help of the friends in groups, teacher monitoring and guiding them. And then teacher gets the annex 4. Prepare a dialogue on friendship rules using if clause type 1 to give strong advice and role play it in front of class. එක ටිකක් creative. So ළමයි groups වල if clause type 1 දාලා friendship rules හදනවා. Maybe 5 sentences. Okay. Friendship rules හදනවා. The teacher help කරනවා. එක present කරනවා. This is actually 5E model. So this is how the lesson plan is written. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So that is it. That is what I wanted to actually introduce. So with that, we can come to the end of our session. But before that, this is an English lesson. Can I actually show you this? Right. I will share it with you now. Okay. Then make බලන්න මේ lesson එක. Grade 6 class එකේ lesson එකක්. හරිද? Make activity එකක්. What is this activity? The teacher has prepared this activity as engagement activity. I make engagement activity. They already know the forms of water. Gas, solid and liquid. And what comes under gas, water, vapor, steam, solid, frost, snow, ice, and liquid, rain, mist, dew, stream, fog and cloud. මේක ඉගලු ඉගෙනගෙන තියෙනවා මේක ඉස්සෙල්ලා. Then teacher එක දෙනවා engagement activity, recall prior knowledge as a whole class activity on the board. මේ diagram එක තියෙනවා, මේ word cards තියෙනවා. Students pick a word card, the volunteers, and go and complete the diagram as the engagement activity to recall prior knowledge. හරිද? හරිද? අයියෝ ළමා. Yeah. ඊට පස්සේ දැන් මේක මේ ඇත්තටම අද lesson එක නෙමෙයි forms of water. මේක ඒගොල්ලෝ මීට ඉස්සෙල්ලා කරපු එකක්. ඒක recall කරලා. මොකද අද lesson එක මොකද්ද? The water cycle. මොකද අද lesson එක? The water cycle. Right. එතකොට දැන් teacher කරන්නේ මෙහෙමයි. මේක highly student centered නේ. Teacher explain කර කර යන්නේ නැහනේ. Students on their own they learn නේ. Teacher guides by giving them suitable materials and activities. So then 5E එකේ exploration group. Now teacher puts them into groups. Okay. Now teacher puts them into groups and asks them, right, watch the video and complete the passage. Water cycle එක ගැන ඕන තරම් interesting videos අපි කියන free resources තියෙනවා. ඒවා use කරන්නේ නැත්නම් teachers ලා වැඩක් නැහැ. එතකොට teacher video එක play කරලා කියනවා, right, watch it and complete this. On hearing, water changes into, on heating, water changes into like that. ඔන්න මේ blanks ටික පුරවනවා. ගොඩක් blanks තියෙනවා because they're working in a group. ඊළඟට teacher කියනවා based on the video activity, match words with definition. Evaporation, condensation, rain, groundwater, water vapor definitions. Now they learned it from the video. Teacher didn't explain. Now they actually match it and they come to know, they explain it to the class then. Teacher gets them to present their answers, explanation. එතකොට මතක ඉන්නවා. ඒගොල්ලෝ මහන් ඉඳලා මැච් කරලා ඒගොල්ලොම කියනවා. ටීචර් කිව්වොත් ඒගොල්ලන්ට මතක ඉන්නේ නැහැ. හැබැයි ඒගොල්ලෝ මහන් ඉඳලා ඒගොල්ලොම මැච් කරලා ඒගොල්ලොම කිව්වම ඒගොල්ලන්ට මතක ඉන්නවා. Right? ඊට පස්සේ තව activity එකක් තියෙනවා based on this video. There are 3 activities. Complete the diagram. Water cycle diagram එක දෙනවා, illustration එක දෙනවා. ඒගොල්ලෝ video එකේ දැක්ක විදිහට මේක complete කරනවා අවශ්‍ය terms දාලා. Okay? So this is teacher doesn't have to actually explain anything. Teacher plays the video, gives them the activities, they do the activities and come to know the water cycle. And they explain it, they do and explain, they do and say. According to Dale's score, remembering is 90%. Okay. ඊළඟට exploration activity. Exploration එකේදී ඒගොල්ලන් ඉගෙන ගත්ත දෙයින් තව අමතර දෙයක් කරනවා. A miniature water cycle, create your own miniature water cycle. මොනවද අවශ්‍ය? A large metal or plastic ball, a pitcher or bucket, a sheet of clear plastic wrap. Put the ball in a sunny place outside. Using the pitcher or bucket, pour water into the bowl until it's about 1/4 full. Like that instructions දෙනවා කරන්න කියලා. Illustration එකකුත් දෙනවා කරන්න බලන්න. And they actually create their own miniature water cycle. Are you okay?
Yes, ma'am.
This is a 5E method lesson. Okay, ඔක flip කරන්නත් පුළුවන්. flip කරනොත් කොහොමද අපි කරන්නේ? මේක flip නෙවෙයි මේක 5E. මෙතන traditional පන්තිය flip කරොත් තවත් වෙනස්. අපි යවනවා ICT පාවිච්චි කළ link එක වීඩියෝ එකට. activities ටික අරිනවා ගෙදරට. activities ටික අරලා කියනවා ඒ ටික ඒගොල්ලන්ට වීඩියෝ එක බලලා තනියම කරන්න පුළුවන්. Am I right? ඊට පස්සේ පන්තියට එනකොට මේ දේවල් අරන් එන්න කියනවා ඒගොල්ලන්ට. And they create the miniature water cycle as a in-class activity. Okay.
Then, ma'am,
Okay, then.
create, excuse me, ma'am. Then as a hot activity, creating your own miniature water cycle comes under that hot
Yeah.
activity in the flip method.
Yeah. ඒතර ඒගොල්ලන්ට කියන්නනේ ඔක්කොම දේවල් අරන් එන්න කියලා.
Okay. Thank you.
So that is really good now. Because when you ask them to do this at home, I don't think that 1 or 2 will do, others will not do. ගෙදර ගිහින් බලන්නේ. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am. Mostly they won't do.
ගකලාර teachers ලා කියන දේවල් they don't do. ඒ කරන්නේ නැත්තේ it's actually difficult because it's hot. It should be done with the help of others. අර තනියම ඉගෙන ගන්න පුළුවන් එක බොරුවට ටීචර් පැය ගාණක් කියවනවා. ළමයිට activity එකක් දුන්නොත් read කරලා match කරන්න කියලා ඒගොල්ලෝ තනියම ඉගෙන ගන්නවා. ඒක වැඩියෙන් ඉගෙන ගන්න. මොකද ඒගොල්ලෝ අහන් හිටියොත් only 30 to 50%. හැබැයි ඒගොල්ලෝ they say it, they do it උනොත් මොකද 90% of remembering, right? ඉතින් ඒ ක්‍රමවේද වලට යන්නේ නැතුව you can't actually be a 21st century teacher in the school. Your students will be passive, they are not very active, they are not creative, they are not cooperative, they are not critical thinkers, they are just bag full of knowledge, useless. That is not the product what is we expect to be, right? A teacher වෙනස් වෙන්න නැතුව ළමයි වෙනස් කරන්න බෑ. ඒකයි කතාව. In simple terms, හැමදාම බැරි වුණත් අපි සුමානට දවසක් හරි වෙනස් මෙතඩ් එකක් පාවිච්චි කරනවා නම් ඒතර ළමයි හරි ආසයි. හැබැයි මුලදී කල්චර් ෂොක් එකක් එනවා. මොකද they are not used to it. පස්සේ ඒගොල්ලෝ හරි ආසයි. දැන් උන අපිටම miniature water cycles හැදුවට පස්සේ අපිට පුළුවන් ඒක ඉන්ටර්වල් එකේ අනිත් ක්ලාසස් වලට ප්‍රදර්ශනය කරන්න. ඉන්විටේෂන් එකක් දීලා. Not the whole school, maybe the next door class, they come and see it. අන්න එහෙමයි අපි වැඩ කරන්න ඕනේ ඉස්කෝලවල. Right? මොකටද අපි අර පොතේ තියෙන එක ළමයට කියවලා තේරුම් ගන්න පුළුවන් එක එයාටම කියවලා තේරුම් අරගෙන එයාම හොයාගන්න ඉඩ අරින්න නැතුව මොකටද අපි ඉස්කෝලේට ඇවිල්ලා පැන දාගෙන කටින් කියලා දෙන්නේ ළමයට අහගෙන ඉඳලා ඉගෙන ගන්න පුළුවන් 30යි. හැබැයි ළමයා එයාලා කරලා එයා හොයාගත්තනේ එයා කිව්වොත් do it and say කරොත් 90% අපි ඒක කරන්නේ නැතුව අපි කියවනවා ඒගොල්ලන්ට. ඒගොල්ලෝ ඉගෙන ගන්නෙත් 30යි. ඒක අවශ්‍යත් නැහැ. right? ඒ වගේ දෙයක් තමයි මෙතනදී ඔයගලන් තේරුම් ගන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට ඇත්තටම කියනවා නම් අන්තිමට if you are a good teacher, it's not 100% flip, it's not 100% jigsaw. You get that elements and draw them into your classroom teacher. තේරුණා නේද? ඔයාට ඕන විදිහට ඔයා මෙතන එක හදා ගන්නවා මේ elements යොදාගෙන. මොකද ඒවා හරි useful. එකයි වෙන්න ඕනේ. Okay? Now, this is the last thing that I did with you. Any questions before we stop? Because we are not meeting again, but I'll be setting your paper, I'll be marking your assignments, but I will not be available for you to ask anything. Any questions? Not the questions.
Ma'am, excuse me, how can we get the past papers of this lesson?
That, of course, you have to actually speak to the campus.
Okay, ma'am.
That, of course, you have to speak to the campus, right? I'm not responsible for that. Okay. What else? What else? No questions? Not the questions. Emanang, today it's only 9:10, but I can stop. Do you have any questions? No, right. Then can I stop? Can I leave the meeting? I will send you the assignment by Monday in black and white, okay? So for your exams, study everything we have done on the approaches, methods and techniques and teaching models and Bloom's taxonomy and the lesson plan here. Okay, that is it. You have access to the lecture notes and recordings?
Yes, ma'am.
Then no problem. So you have LMS?
Yes.
Yeah, ma'am.
Then no problem, no? Right then. So I will leave the meeting, right? Because it's very difficult to talk. We have another 20 minutes. Okay, this is the last day and work is done. So thank you very much and good night, okay?
Thank you, ma'am. Good night.
Right, okay, good night.